Good day to you, one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Today is Comments, episode 29. We've done this 28 other times, and this is the 29th time, hence the name of the episode, wherein I react to a selection of your missives, and I do so in the most honest and open-hearted way I possibly can, using only the truth. Justin Hawkins rides again. Okay, the first Comments Day question. This is from Tim Owen. Tim asks, Comments Day question. What's your worst interview? I recently saw the Jonathan Ross interview on this here YouTube and was horrified. He seemed to question you like he was a shrink. You did well to stick it back at him with varying amounts of humour. I appreciate that, Tim. Must confess, I was probably not sober when I did that one. But it was very much... I think it was, I remember when the researcher called me, it was quite obvious that it was going to be, the emphasis was always going to be on weight. And I think because I had erroneously revealed in an interview somewhere that I was having some difficulties with eating disorders and stuff like that. So I think he just wanted to talk about eating disorders. And two, in defense of Jonathan Ross, I would say that he most probably just wanted to do that to try and help other people who are in a similar predicament. I think it's one of those things that men don't usually talk about, really. So he probably thought it was important, but I just wanted to go on there and have a laugh. It wasn't really something that I was up for talking about, and didn't always enjoy raking up all this sort of stuff about my mental health. You know, I'm not always into doing that, really. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and on that day I wasn't up for it, really. I wouldn't say it was my worst interview. There was one guy came and he had like, it was a press interview, so I think he had like some sort of recording device, and he popped it in the middle, asked us a few questions, and, you know, we said a lot of stuff and it was cool. I thought it went all right, and then he rewound the sort of tape or the digital recorder, whatever it was, to check the audio, and it was something that had gone wrong, and it was just like just sounded like that. And I just said to him, are you just going to make this whole thing up? And he's like, yeah, I'll have to now, won't I? So just made it up. Stuff like that's annoying. I mean, the great thing is, the wonderful thing about having this YouTube portal here is that you can ask me questions that you actually want answered, and I'll answer them. You know, my audience is here. So if you have a comment or a remark or anything you'd like me to respond to, be it a question or an observation of some sort, just do it here. Actually, when I say something outrageous, it always gets syndicated around the world anyway, doesn't it? So they've obviously got their eyes on what I'm doing here. Thanks to you guys. And he says, this is a serious question. Is it okay to cosplay being something for the sake of art? Beyonce talking about working 9 to 5, Kid Rock as a voice for the working class, even some of my beloved rockers singing about the working class while having not been working class for decades. As a struggling working class person, I don't feel it's genuine, and most of the time it pisses me off. Wow, that's interesting. I think like there's you know, those working class voices, they start off coming from having been like blue collar families, and maybe it's the first generation of that family that does anything sort of musical or creative with any success. But then after sort of 10 or 11 albums of that, for an album to be a sort of genuine document that states where the artist is at, you're going to have to stop doing that sort of blue collar stuff, aren't you? Unless you write a fuck ton of songs before you get to that point, and then you just roll them out as you go along. Then the songs themselves have the same energy that you need, the requisite kind of frustration and isolation and whatever it is that this, you know, sense of governmental abandonment and all that, you know. You can still have that in songs, but you probably need to write them while you feel it. I understand why it would piss you off, though. It's an interesting question, isn't it? Let's use this comment section here. I mean, Beyonce talking about working 9 to 5. Yeah, I can see what you mean. Kid Rock is a voice for the working class. Yeah, it depends. Sometimes, you know, even with all that sort of wealth and success, it doesn't squash the fire that you have in your belly in the opening instances. You just find something else to be angry about. If you can keep it focused on those things, I mean, you know, these things still need to be said. It doesn't necessarily have to be said by somebody who actually works in a factory, you know. But it's an interesting point. Marty Wild says, "Hi Justin, if you were to do a solo album, how different would it be to a Darkness album?" Cheers, Marty. I've been talking to Dan about this actually lately. I mean, I think a solo record would be something that's basically a document for my children to say, well, this is how I see music. And it isn't necessarily, my view of music is that when you're doing stuff, it doesn't have to be brilliant all the time. It just has to be an honest appraisal of where you're at. You know, it's not. I mean, you can lavish hours and hours and hours of fine tuning on things, but depending on who you're working with, that can be counterproductive, or it can really it can chisel away all the fat off a song and turn it into something concise and great, or it can make something really flabby and overproduced. You know, I always think that just get it done quickly. I actually honestly believe that. I think if I did a solo record, it would take a lot less time to record than a Darkness one, because the emphasis wouldn't be on making something that sounds brilliant and hits you in the face and has had every opportunity to be a great record. I would just do it. It'd take about 2 weeks probably. I'd put more. I think Darkness stuff needs to be of a certain intensity and a certain cadence to be able to serve a live set. If I was doing a solo record, I wouldn't be thinking about how to do it live. I'd just have like songs that I wanted to say. You know what I mean by that? So I think there'd be subtle differences. There'd also be a lot of similarities, I think, as well. If I was to do a solo record, I wouldn't do it instead of a Darkness record. I'd do it as well. Nice one, Marty. Thank you. These are all big ifs, by the way. James Bedford says, Justin Hawkins, the footballer, what was your favoured position? I'm guessing right back. Yeah, right back. I wouldn't mind anything actually on the right-hand side. That would be all right. When I was a teenager, I was never very good at football, but I was very fast. So they used to put me as a winger or right midfield or something like that. And then I'd just run up and down the line, try and put crosses in, you know. And then after a while, I sort of developed an understanding with a centre forward, and I ended up becoming like the centre forward's bloke standing next to him, what you might call a number 10 nowadays. So it's me and David Phelps up front for Burnt Hill Rangers FC. Unstoppable. Thanks for your question. I like playing up front when we're doing stuff with the band, when we do, the charity football tournaments and stuff. I like being up front because I think it's important that the person scoring the goals is in the band. If you're playing for if you're watching the Darkness play and all the goals go flying and it's somebody else that isn't in the band scoring them, it doesn't feel right. So I take it upon myself to be that guy. Thanks, James. Jim Smith says, nice one, entertaining analysis as usual. By the way, would you recommend Grado RS1s? That's what I'm using here, isn't it? These are the Grado RS1s. I've been using these as a sort of reference headphone. They're not closed back, so they're not really ideal for singing. You'd end up getting a lot of spill from the track that you're singing along to if you tried to use them in a vocal booth. But I do like them to reference performances and do editing and perhaps even do a bit of mixing with them. They sound really, really precise. They've been the best headphones I've ever put on my head. And that is just the truth. So if the people of Grado would like to just perhaps send an email to my producer and come to some sort of arrangement. But it's true, I just really like them. Had them for years and years and they've always been great. Alan Versipellit says, thank you so much for doing this YouTube channel. It's been helping me through a dark time. Have you ever written a song that chokes you up to the point that you cannot perform it live? Keep kicking ass and thank you again. We don't operate in that realm really. There's some really, really sad songs on Darkness records, but they usually end up sort of being bonus tracks or album tracks. They're not usually singles as such, or even sort of not stuff that ends up in the set. So it would never be an issue to sort of choke up. There's a song on the last record on Motorheart called So Long, which I wrote here. There's a special reason why it's powerful. All the free verses relate to free heartbreaking situations that aren't necessarily to do with romance or whatever. But it's been so long since we said so long. But it's I don't know, just that puts me in a emotional place. Touches me in the emotional place. See, I always have to ruin it by undermining something real and sensitive with a stupid double entendre. I'm sorry, guys. I must say thank you to all of my super thanks contributors. I really, really appreciate you. Nice one, guys. So that's Ken C, Loyan C, Maz, Fearful Earful, good name, Mike Dustbin. My cousin used to call me Justin the Dustbin because I used to eat all the foods. Christian Medina, Average Row, Lorna K, Strange Device, Jason Lizowski, Jigs111, ADE97, Knut Vadoy, Rad Walsham, Bluesy Fluster, Shark Week Holiday, Russ, Tubby Baby Jesus. It just means it's healthy. Greg McKinnon, Star Saucer, Tom Medvedich, PMT Slot Hits and Stuff, Sarah Way, Stephen Randall, Pete Haynes, Clive Smith, Alicia Austin, Donia, Leek Thomas, Keen Rourke, Polly Zubenko, and Alexis Kissel. Nice one, guys. I appreciate you very much. Anyway, I'm going on tour with The Darkness. We're playing in Australia and New Zealand this October, but it's nearly sold out. We are doing some UK dates in January and February next year. And if you want to come along to any of that stuff, there's a link in the description. I think those are going to be fun nights. Justin Hawkins writes again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and watch one of these 2 videos. I love you guys. See you on the ice. Yeah, nice one.